Welcome again to our marketing series for QVM traders. I'm Madalen Ross, QVM Program Manager, and once again we've got Peter Topping with us, who's been doing a fabulous job in over the last number of months. Our September edition of the marketing series once again is providing QVM traders with digital marketing tasks and tips and activities to help you develop the digital footprints during 2022. In today's marketing session, we move from winter, and today Peter's going to give us further ideas coming into spring and summer. So Peter, once again, welcome, and I'll let you take it away from here.
Thank you, Madalen. I would just ask you to give me screen sharing, as I'm not currently allowed to have it. So in the meantime, yes, thanks very much to Madalen. Thanks very much to QVM for letting me do another one in these series. It's been a very, very long and wet winter, as we all know, but there is plenty of good news around as the sun has finally come out, and things really seem to have started to pick up for the market in general. And so where I'm going to start is, as usual, with the bulletin, and I hope you can see my screen now. If you can just give me a wave, that'd be fantastic, just to know that you can actually see the screen.
We can see the screen.
Fantastic. Okay, great. So obviously, from a retail point of view and any kind of market point of view, this is a real cut-off date. You know, the 1st of September is a really is a transitional period for retail. Obviously, it's the start of spring traditionally. We've got school holidays coming up, and then we've got grand finals and both codes of football, and then we've got Melbourne Cup, and then it's Christmas. So we need to clear our winter inventory. We need to really get our Christmas stock landed, and if we're in a spring seasonal cycle, we need to make sure that that's already firmly embedded and we're marketing it. So it's one of the busiest times of the year, and it's also bizarrely one of the low energy times of the year, because it's been a long, tough winter, especially for those people standing outside on a not so busy market Thursday. So I just tried to bring some ideas and acknowledge the fact there are, that I understand where you're up to at the moment. So the Trader Bulletin has gone really well this year, and I've banged on about it a lot in the last few segments, but I really do think QVM are doing a lot. And one of the things that I didn't perhaps explain to people was the fact that they were trying to attack different market segments and approach different market segments, and also seek different demographics. And I just thought I might give a bit more detail around what they're doing, in case you don't know or haven't noticed why they're doing different kinds of activities. So obviously the rockabilly retro market has been enormously successful at the top end of the market, and that's going to continue for a while. And that really targets a car culture and a music culture and a niche culture of people who like to buy things that are secondhand. They like to buy things that are restored, and and they like to eat at places like Dave's Diner. So it really goes for a certain kind of market user, and tries to bring a certain group of people to the market. With the Soul Sundays they've also got on, that is really bringing people who are into spirituality, people who are into natural healing, people who probably have a predisposition to buy organic products, for instance, or unique handmade gifts, because that is the kind of demographic they're really going for. And they're going for it by saying there's going to be practitioners in the market, tarot card readers, astrologists, and palmists. So although getting your palm read in the Vic market might not seem like a great idea, it's the other things those people do while they're in the market. They'll buy a handmade woolly Nepalese hat made by a cooperative. They'll buy organic fruit and veg. They'll probably eat at the market. There's great fruit juices. There's a whole range of great stores that might cater towards that kind of demographic. So it's bringing those people who wouldn't normally come into the market into the market. Again, so last week they had recyclable coffee cups, okay, and this week it's about solar power. So here what they're doing is they're really trying to position themselves with the demographic within the city, people who are interested in sustainability. The city of Melbourne votes green, the surrounding suburbs vote green, or they tend to vote Labor. So the environment is a big is a big issue. It's sustainability is a big issue. So the market is trying to put its values and demonstrate that it's in alignment with the values of both the people we're sending to Canberra, the people we're sending to state parliament, and a number of particular major party groups, and also older people and people with kids are the people who are most concerned about the environment. So they're really targeting a demographic there when they really go with this kind of news, and there's a reason for it. It's very well thought through. So it doesn't matter what your politics are, they're just getting what's called strategic alignment with demographics. Obviously, again, with craft work, what we're looking at here is people who want to buy something authentic, they want to buy something artisanal, they want to buy something that they feel is handmade, they want to buy something that's probably low impact, and they want to buy something unusual. So those people are traditionally characterized as being people with a high income and a high education. So they're people who might work in marketing in the city, live in Brunswick, and spend big on gifts. So it again attracts a high income demographic, the craft market. Not so much the makers, but really the people who buy that. Or they're older people who can afford to spend money on individual craft-based gifts for family members, colleagues, grandchildren, children, etc. So it's a high-spend demographic. And again, they're the people who are likely to buy quality products when they're at the market. So who they've targeted is very well thought out. It's really about people. Okay, and getting different groups of people who live within striking distance of the inner city to think and consider coming to the market. And when they're at the market, the traders generally give them a good experience and they're more likely to come back. And especially a lot of those ones who haven't come back to the market for a couple of years during COVID. So that's really some of the thinking that's underlying. Every time you see one of those activities, it's about a certain target market. How can we get them to come to the market? And then how can we, when they're here, get them to spend? So obviously the other thing that's still there is the Dizzy Deals, and the Dizzy Deals has been one of the most successful promotions I've seen by the market, where traders offer 2-for-1 deals. And obviously people come here who are price driven. That's the motivation. You can come in and get a Bannockburn chicken. They're expensive. They're $14. You're getting 2-for-1. You won't just come in and get a chicken. You're going to spend other things. You're going to go to Sylvia's, which is opposite that chicken shop, and you're going to buy something from the deli. You're probably going to get a coffee. You might get some fruit and veg, have a wander around, look at the giftware. So it's been enormously successful for both the customer, but also for the individual traders in terms of generating income and generating foot traffic. So if you haven't used it, I'd encourage you to use it. If you used it once, I'd encourage you to give it a second go. It's been very successful. Okay, it's a price driven. It's not so much a stereotypical demographic. It's a value driven person that they're looking at. A person who will travel for a deal. Right. So again, it's well thought out, good for traders, but also it's attracting a segment of the population.
And Peter, I just add, it's a good time if you've got old stock that you need to get rid of. That's a good way of getting rid of it, is putting them on the Dizzy Deals.
Yeah, especially if it's winter. It's and you've got it. You don't know if it's going to be in fashion next year. It's Melbourne. It could be winter at Christmas time still. So it's never too late to. It's never the wrong time of year in Melbourne to buy something warm.
No, that's right.
So yeah, do consider that. Lastly, the one that was in there, which I thought they did a really good job on, was the football. Okay, it doesn't matter whether you like football or not, and football isn't on at the market, right? But visitors come to the market. Vic, Tas, SA, WA, Sydney siders, etc. People from Brisbane, the Gold Coast, they come to Melbourne, and while they're here, they often visit the market. And so in order to help you with your social postings, they've got a link in the Trader Bulletin where you can download the grand final opening hours, right? Why not put it there? It's the broadest demographic the market targets. It's family, mainstream Australia, old, young, children, and it's during a time when people have got time off, that Friday through to football final day. So get out there and reuse it. It's a free post. It gives you currency. It keeps you up to date. It's on trend. If it doesn't suit your brand, don't do it, right? But I think they've done a great job providing you with the graphic. So click on the link, download the image, and put it up on your socials or on your website or in an EDM. So I think, again, the market is, the QVM's done a great job with the Trader Bulletin this week in terms of targeting a diverse audience, trying to get different people into the market. So anyway, the last thing I'll really come on about this is that obviously we've had the winter market, we've now got the night market coming up, and after the night market we've got the summer night market coming up. Now, speaking to the traders as a mentor in residence and doing follow-up from these presentations, the night market has been enormously successful for a whole range of traders. It's really where they've made up for a slow Friday, is by having great Wednesday nights. So if you're not a part of it, I would urge you to reconsider, and especially based on the fact that it's been really successful. So there's no reason why the summer night market, etc., shouldn't be as successful as the winter night market has been.
Can I just say, Peter, I'll just jump in. The application for the summer night market finished on Sunday, just gone.
Right.
So if I think that now you start planning for next year and make sure that you get in on time, get in early, make sure that you've actually signed up for it. There's links on the website where you can download the info packs, and I think that, and this is part of the planning for the strategic planning for next year. So it's time to plan now for next year.
Right, thanks, Madalen. And yeah, just the two last mentions that were on that newsletter. There was the Fringe, which obviously is a great Melbourne festival. Again, they're going to have something on in the market to attract a different demographic. So they're going for the arts crowd. And there's the Refugee Enterprise, which again is attracts a different crowd to the market. Right? People who are interested in the welfare and plight of refugees and other refugees coming to have a look at the products and enterprises that they've created brings a different demographic to the market. The Fringe, being a part of the Fringe, really brings the art crowd into the market, and then you've got various bars and social locations around the precinct that people can follow up with. And it's just down the road from the Meatworks Theatre, it's just down the road from Stables as a theatre, and it's just down the road from the new La Mama, and Melbourne Uni. So there's lots of venues around there which really would suit having a Fringe event at the market. So again, they've gone for, I think that's 8 different segments in this Trader Bulletin that they're really trying to get into the market and and refresh people's experience of the market to try and bring them in on a more regular basis. So last week I talked about a couple of different things, and one of them I talked about was the fact that 80% of people are using Chrome as a search engine at the moment, and obviously it's a bit more in terms of Safari when you take into account mobile phones. But if you look across the whole globe at the moment, and you look across all devices, it's 80% of people using a Google product to access and search the web via mobile or via other means, right? So I've gone on for the last sort of 7 months about Google and tried to introduce you to various aspects of Google, but this was just to really bring you the importance of why, even though I might not like Alphabet or Google, they're important and you have to take them seriously, because access to the browser is so ubiquitous. You know, the only way people get around this is they use apps directly made by the companies like Facebook or Insta, etc. So it was just to try and show you the scale of their dominance. We also talked last month about the fact that Google's always changing things, and I gave you an update on GA4 and also Google My Business. What's happened in the intervening period is they've changed Google My Business. So when you go in there, you might not recognize it, but I'll just talk about that for a few seconds later on. You can't keep up with Google. All you can do is do your best, right? And generally when there is a new product, put some time aside to explore that new product. So the other feedback that I got and in discussions with Madalen is that obviously people are feeling a bit, a bit sort of over the whole digital experience that we've had in the COVID experience, and the logic is pretty good, right? If the market levels are back to what they were except for Friday, because people are working from home. The night market is going really well. There isn't any more lockdowns. There is visitors, right? Why should I really bother to keep focusing on digital when I've got people in front of me? You know, and so from that is what's the minimum that I can do. So I went away and thought, well, you know, for someone who does digital marketing, doing the minimum doesn't really sit that well. But you know, it's a fair enough question. So I did have a think about it, right? And I thought, what are the basics, right? The basics I would say for everyone is keeping your socials up to date. And there is good research to back this, right? School holidays, spring, grand final, Melbourne Cup, Christmas, right? Why should you keep your socials up to date? Because there's a research that shows that if a customer looks on their phone and there's 2 websites, 2 Instagrams, 2 Facebooks, 2 whatevers, right? And one has got a post from last year or a post from, you know, from Easter or a post from months back, and the other one's got a current post, that the client has some sort of bias towards visiting the store which has got a current post, right? And that is because a lack of currency in your social media is a proxy for shoppers for a lack of care, freshness, attention to detail, right? So although it doesn't actually tell them anything, they're using it as a proxy to say, oh, you know, they haven't updated their website from last year, or they haven't updated their Facebook since you know, since February or July or whatever date, right? Whereas these people have. So it's about attention to detail. So my argument would be the minimum you can do is keep things up to date, right? Make sure that any of your digital presences don't reference things that have gone past, okay? I did a classic example there just before. I said, have you registered for the night market? You know, Madalen pointed out closed on Sunday, but I'd already written the presentation by Sunday. So that was a lack of currency, right? So the customer notices at a subconscious level whether something is current, and it helps them to make decisions. So if there's 2 people in the market, they're looking at where to go, they'll go to the one with currency. It's a bias, you know, that we've got. It's just a proxy. Okay, so the action items there are plan to update it, actually action it, images or text. It won't happen on its own, right? You've actually got to do it, or you've got to delegate it to someone in the team to do it, right? But that's the minimum thing that we want to see, right? And you know, when we started these series back in March, my first item was take down those happy Christmas and see you after the Christmas holidays. And we're closed until the 14th of January notes that people still had up. Currency, keep it current. Okay, in terms of other minimums, right? One of the things that I would make sure is if you can be on QVM online, that you are on QVM online. They've got 4 and 5 star reviews, which are really, really hard to get. Not everyone can get on QVM online, but I think it's going to have an absolutely fantastic Christmas. Last year it did really well. It's been doing better and better all the time, and it's got a different vibe or feel to Menulog or DoorDash or anything like that. And you can shop by trader and category, right? So,
and may I add that try to have a unique point of difference. The online store, that it is hard to get on through QVM, only because they don't want 100 of the same products on there, of the same type of stores. So you know, by all means apply, but it doesn't mean that you're automatically accepted onto QVM online.
yeah, so I'd just like to say, again, it's a great store. It's got a great reputation. It's getting great reviews. It's building its thing. It's sort of resonance all the time. And I think this Christmas, which is, you know, as a retailer, I can say is now not far away, although you might not want to hear that. You know, Christmas is on, right? And this is about incremental sales. The QVM store is open 7 days a week, 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, right? That's gold for Christmas shopping. So if you can get on, right? The other thing was coming back to Google My Business. I said just before, 80% of people use Chrome. Google uses Chrome, owns Chrome, and it links it to Google My Business. Okay. What I want you to do is review it, add new images, check the contact links, update the new services sections. And if you want bonus points, do a post in there. They offer you a way to post through it. And for double points, respond to a review. The point of responding to a review is Google gives you a ranking based on engagement, okay? And so if you get reviews, they go tick, oh, nice person. If you get lots of reviews, they go, oh, tick, nice person, lots of 5-star reviews, even better, right? But there's also somewhere in their algorithm hidden away, people who respond to reviews, that's called engagement. So all you've got to do is say, thanks, great, good to meet you, really glad you were happy, come back again. You don't have to say anything super intelligent. You just have to engage the customer so that Google and the algorithm can see that you got a review, someone said something and you came back. So therefore you're an engaged business. And they're not really interested in what the content of that engagement is. They're interested in the activity of engagement because it shows that you're an engaged leader. So,
I think it's very important to add there, Peter, that, please don't go out and buy reviews because you will be banned eventually. If they don't catch you now, they will. They've been cracking down on it over the last 12 months, but in particular the last couple of months. So they're really cracking down on those fake reviews.
And the simplest way they catch you is they find out if the review comes from the same IP address as the person who owns the
yeah.
right? So that means it comes from in your house or on your phone. They can tell. Leave a signature.
Also, if you're going to somewhere like Fiverr or Upwork and paying for it, the person might be in Singapore or the Philippines. So why would they be buying from the online store?
Yeah, it never pays to try and outsmart multi-billion-dollar companies. It's not worth the effort. So just to why I consider the Google My Business to be the basics, right? It's because it's the cornerstone of your digital product, right? It's the point that links you to the map, so how to find you. It's the point that links you to the phone. It's the point that links you to an address. It's the point that links you to a review, okay? And it also links you to a website. So what it is this is the old white pages or yellow pages, or the old street directory that you used to get, or the old Thompsons. It's the equivalent, right? It's the cornerstone of where search, people's mobile phones, people's tablets, and people's laptops find businesses. So that's why it's a corner presence. If you're not there, it's going to be harder for you to get in there. Okay, so it is the key business finder, and that's the way that they're pushing it. And they don't have a competitor. If there was someone else, I'd be telling you to be on both, right? But it's not. There isn't a someone else at the moment in terms of that, and that's because Google knows that people use Chrome, and in the Chrome real estate, they have Google My Business. So it's even when people use Safari, which is owned by Apple, they often search using Google as a search engine, and so again, Google My Business appears. So it is important, and I have gone on about it ad nauseum over the last few months, but it's free and it's a key skill. So what else do I consider to be the minimum? I consider the minimum to be building your marketing database, especially for Christmas, right? The easiest thing you can do to future-proof your business is to get sales from people who you already know, right? Incremental income and new income, people who refer you to them, right? So all the research shows that people who meet you in real life are the people who are most likely to buy, most likely to repeat, most likely to refer, and most likely to review you positively. So I put in real life there because the slide was too IRL, because the slide was too crowded, right? So if you meet someone, ask for their mobile number, ask for an email address, ask for likes or follows on social media, ask for a review on any kind of platform that you like, right? And back that up by making it easy for them with your signage, your business cards, your receipts, your quotes, your Google My Business, and your social media. Invite contact with them and invite engagement with them. I've got traders out there who trade exclusively through their collection of mobile phone numbers, and it's mainly in the dairy section. They've got a big list of people who they've dealt with before, and they send out a big burst of SMS, and it's very, very successful for them. Okay, it's also very successful for allied health professionals. They send out a whole burst of SMSs to people who haven't had a treatment. Say, we treated you back in June. It's been 4 months. Would you like another check? Would you like to come in? Etc. etc. Go straight to the message. If they don't want to have that message, they just block it as spam. But the chances are they will take the message because they've got the osteo, physio, massage therapist already in their phone, or they recognize the number, or they've got their name in there, and it's a friendly reminder of something that they need to do. So mobile can be quite effective for a lot of businesses. Again, you know, people can only say no. So you've got nothing to lose from asking for that, because this is your Christmas data set. If you can market people online at Christmas with all the assets that you've built and get an extra day or 2 days trading, it's worth it, right? So keep building your digital databases is what I'd say is the minimum thing you can do. Make it part of your sales routine. In terms of technology, what's the minimum you could do? You can put up your Christmas and spring and summer collections now, right? Shopify, Magento, WordPress, Wix. It's time to put up those pages. Christmas ideas, gift ideas for dad, Christmas gifts for mums, tweens, you know, anything you like, men's gifts ideas, women's gifts ideas. Now's the time to put it up because it needs time to be indexed by Google. You can just put up an image, make sure it's got an alt tag and a title. You can put up some text saying coming soon. What you need to concentrate on is a good meta description, a good title tag, and a good page title. Those are the things you really need to to make sure are good in the page. You can then come back and complete the collection later on and add value to the page, right? When the page is totally complete and all your Christmas products or spring catalog is up, you then resubmit your site to Google via the Search Console, or if you have a web person, you get the web person to submit the site for you directly to Google. But most of you can do it yourself through Search Console. But don't submit it for re-indexing until you've completed it. So put it up now, work on it, and when you're ready, go to Search Console and submit your sitemap to Google, and they will reread it, right? If you don't have a shop, you've got static pages, you've got blogs, you've got socials, you can still plan to do all that content now, because you've got this 12-week window that's coming up in order to do this marketing. And this is the biggest events period that we've got going right out to Grand Prix in Melbourne. So think it through, put a little bit of time aside and start to put up some of those static pages. And then you can start to put your content and ideas in later on. But in the meantime, just get the pages up. Okay, so if it's still a why bother, is it still worth it? I'll give you three arguments about why it is still worth it. You spent 2 years during COVID, and some of you have got government grants and some of you have spent your own money building your basic digital assets, right? And we've done this to kind of future-proof our business and also to disaster-proof our business. So I would say it's too early to walk away from it. And it's not established yet and it's not as good as it could be. So you've put in this time and investment. So just put in a little bit to keep it going for now if you've run out of steam. Just do the absolute basics, right? The other thing to consider is that it isn't really over, right? We've stopped worrying about it, but the students aren't back in numbers, the temporary work visa holders aren't back in numbers, and more people have died since Easter than died in the whole of the pandemic before. It's up to 50 a day, right? And, you know, if you think it's over, just ask a monkey, right? We've now borrowed a disease from them. So you've got all these assets that you've developed over the last few years. What I would do is keep them current, maintain them, because we don't know what's just around the corner, right? If you want to have a break, like I said, that's absolutely fine if you're a bit over it after winter, but try and get back to it by the siren on grand final day. And the other motivating factor is that the research shows that some people will never come back in person and will continue to shop online no matter how small the object is. So you may as well, if it turns out to be 10 or 15% of the population, you should be making sure you're getting 10 or 15% of your business transactions through your digital assets, because those people aren't coming back, right? They're really happy with the way things changed in COVID, and they're really happy to shop online. Even if it's for a single order of fries from McDonald's, they'll still do it. So it's a valid channel, right? And you've invested hard, you've done a lot of work, you've done a lot of learning, keep it alive, okay? That's just my argument for why you should keep going. Whoops. So if if you still don't want to do anything digital, I would say get your signage right. Okay, use the time and effort and money that you spent online to link it into the markets, right? And the most important thing is probably signage. Everyone in the market knows Italian House of Leather. It's really easy to find. They're branded with the Italian flag. They make a lot of noise, and they've always got a price-driven offer in the market, right? So when you look at signage, it needs a name, it needs a logo, it needs your socials on it, it needs your contact and website details on that. If you've got a tagline or message, put it on there. And remember, if you're expecting to use the grants from QVM, it must have the QVM logo on and be authorised by QVM, right?
Actually,
QVM
no, it
net retention.
doesn't, Peter. No, that new rulings that they've been in for quite a while now. You don't use a logo on the signage. They have a word
Right.
mark that you're not to use their logo on business cards, the colour one, but there is a word mark that they can use, a black and white
Right.
word mark. So you can use the
Okay.
word mark. You don't need you can on signage, but you don't need to anymore.
Right. Okay. Thanks for the update on that. Right. The good news is that QVM will help you to actually achieve those signage goals. Right. In the trader bulletin, the one that was sent out on the 29th, so 4 or 5 days ago, there was they reiterated their opportunity for signage and visual merchandising and reusable bags and photography. And they just said you've got to have an SL or PE or leasehold, and you've got to trade in the market 4 days a calendar month, and they've got a link in there for how to apply for that marketing support. So it's a great opportunity to actually get your signage right, and it does make a really big difference. I had a look around the market, and obviously in meat and dairy, I think they do it really well. It's a really tight space. There's lots of people doing the same thing, but the signage within stores is really, really clear. What's the product? How much does it cost? Do you buy it by the item, or do you buy it by weight, or do you buy it by volume? It's all really, really clear, right? So when you walk up into general merchandise and other parts of the market, it's much less clear. But in terms of meat and dairy, I think they do a really, really good job in a tight space, right? They also are really, really good at trading on difference. This was my favorite store. What they had here is 3 sales points that they were making, and that created an invisible 4th point, right? And if you look at this site, they're trading on gluten-free, they're trading on organic, and they're trading on free range, right? And what that says about them is that we care about your health, we care about your well-being, and we care about our product selection, right? And that creates an intangible 4th offer, which is that, we care about your, you as a person, and we've selected a product for that kind of thinking person, the person who wants to buy organic, wants free range, wants gluten-free, is kind to animals, thinks about the planet, etc. The cost to them is negligible. All they've done is pay for the signage and put thought into their product selection, right? So this is an absolute ripper in terms of he's not just, or she's not just trading on price. They're not just trading on giving away additional products. They're not trading on 2-for-1 deals. They're not trading on any kind of cyclical discounts or anything like that. They're trading on value, right? Which is what we all want to do. You can see again with this place, gluten-free sausages made on the premises, right? So gluten-free is the latest health trend. It's absolutely gone crazy. Lots of people are really into it. The difference in their gluten-free and other gluten-frees is the fact that this is made on the premises, right? So it's local, it's authentic, it's made in Melbourne, and you're going to make lots of assumptions about the ingredients based on those kind of statements. It's also really good timing. It's springtime. We've got school holidays. There's grand final barbecues. There's Melbourne Cup barbecues. And there's a whole range of other sausages that are not necessarily gluten-free and meat products that are available. So in this particular case, again, in the meat and dairy section, they're doing a really, really good job of finding a point of difference and finding a way to tap into current trends and to secure customers that's different from the people that are around them. So in this particular case, what you're doing is they're welcoming and targeting specific customers. In this case, it's Chinese customers, and they've done it really simple just through items that they've hung in the window that are cultural reference points. And people do it with Greek flags, they do it with the halal sign, they do it with the kosher sign, and they're also doing it increasingly with the LGBTQI sticker and the ally sticker. So it might help you win the extra sale, right? If you have a tourist and they're a couple from Adelaide and it's 2 women and 2 men or whatever, and you've got that little ally sticker that you can get for which says that you're LGBTQI friendly as a business, right? The chances are they might stop there. And if they've got to choose to spend their money consciously, they may as well do it with someone who is saying, you know, I like you as a community. So they're tiny little things that can secure the difference between someone buying from your store and someone buying from someone else's store. They're little ways to draw people in that basically don't cost you anything except thought, right? So that's why I've covered this particular issue. So when you look at brand signage, it's a form of location marketing. What we want to know from the brand signage is, where are you? How do I find you? And can I refer a friend, a customer, or a colleague, right? What does your name look like if I can't pronounce it or spell it? We've all been tourists. We all have walked around not knowing how to say the word we're looking for, but looking for a sign that's got that assemblage of letters on, right? If it's not clear, you lose the sale and someone else gets the money, right? So when you're going for signs, think about, where are you? How do I find you? And think about it from the point of view is, will this sign allow someone to refer a customer or a friend or a colleague to me, or a tourist to me in the market? So it's a pretty simple sort of goal that you're aiming to achieve. And again, in the fruit and dairy, in the dairy and the meat section, they do it pretty well. The signage is all pretty clear. They have the additional advantage that they actually have a place in which to place their signage. But they do it well, and it is easy to find people in that part of the market. Dave's Diner, obviously you can't really miss Dave's Diner. It's really well signposted. There's a lot of caravans in and around the market, but this one stands out by a mile, and it says Dave's Diner on the top. It's really easy to spot, really easy to refer to, really easy to find on the location. Lots of other people are doing it well. Obviously the Land of Soy and Honey, Pink Pig up in the market, small amount of signage, but definitely a pink background, usually on a corner, easy to find, the brand stands out, right? Queen's Harvest have just won an award in the fruit and veggie section, really easy to find, clear and distinct. I never would have thought of going black and white, but they've done it. It's been really successful and it works really well. They stand out among their competitors really, really clearly. And again, easy to refer to. Simon Oz, there is a dozen people or more, maybe 24 people who sell t-shirts in the market and who sell souvenirs in the market. This is the only one who you can find based on signage and branding that just does t-shirts alone. So again, a good job that's well done and places him above the competitors. So what I did by comparison is I just turned around and I took some photos down the alleyways in the market. And what you can see here is there's absolutely no signage at all. So if I've got a friend, if I've got a tourist, if I've got someone I want to refer, then when I look at these down these places, how do I give them a location point or a brand name to say, go here, buy this product, go here and find this person? Like, there's one person in the market who sells Ugg boots that are genuine and it deals in end of line and low stock and odd sizes and things like that, right? But you could walk into that market and you would see 6 or 7 other stores of selling Ugg boots. And if you ask the person, are these Ugg boots? They'd say, yes, they are, right? Because it's both a brand name and a product name. So that person could lose the sale. But one store's got genuinely branded boots made by Ugg. But how do you find or refer to them if the signage is no good? Whereas all the others that we've talked about have got great signage. So the signage is really useful. And there's things that we can learn from the bottom end of the market and take up the market to help us make the sale. If the people can't find us, someone else has got a similar product, people will make the sale somewhere else and you won't get the income that you've worked hard for the product that you've landed and for the proposal that you've put there. So I would encourage you to think seriously about signage. And like I said, in particular, There's lots of great tourism product back in the market again, but the stores aren't signposted, the prices aren't listed, and the products aren't well defined on many of the stores.
And don't forget don't forget there's that co-op marketing package that you can take up to $500. So there's no reason why you don't have some sort of signage at the market. And, you know, when we have graphic designers available through the internship program, then, you know, we're very happy to have them help you develop the sign for you.
Okay, and the last thing is I noticed on my trip around the market when I was thinking about this is I found this sign here, Greenwood, right, hidden on the side of a storage locker. Now this, from a marketing point of view, is absolute gold, right? It shows that the product's natural, it shows that the product's handmade, it shows that the product's authentic, it shows that the product's local, it will have low carbon miles on it, it's a genuine product, and if you don't want to buy it now, you can go to its website. But it's actually hidden on the back side of a van. The customer's never going to see it. Right? But it's the kind of information and the kind of sign that could help you close a deal. Right? If you're looking at a leather belt in the market, how do you know which ones are just simply made in Indonesia? You want to buy an Australian product. This is one which is, this is a place which says all these products are leather products. They're made locally, they're produced locally, they're authentic, and they're genuine. But if I hadn't been cutting between two stores, I never would have found it. But this is a classic piece of good marketing in terms of it says everything succinctly and it has a bit of a brand feel to it. So providence, where things are from, sells. So get it out there, get it front and get it central. So another example, fantastic visual merchandising, right? Site that looks great in the middle of the market, but absolutely no signage. So what happens is you refer someone there and he's not in the same place next week, you're not going to find him. You don't know what he's called. You don't know what the brand is called. And if you do know what the brand is called and what the store is called, there's no signage. So someone else might get the sale. So in this particular case, what happens is that the stallholder isn't necessarily leveraging all the great work that they've done. So as I said, eye appeal is buy appeal. You know, I know that's a translation from Yiddish, but it really does make a big difference to how people feel. But it's only 50% of the equation if no one can find you. And we all know, especially with the renovations in the market, that people are moving around. So the way to find people is by knowing their name and by having some signage so people can find you. Okay, so some people do have signs, right? But some of the signs don't really maximize the opportunity. I found 7 or 8 of these pet tags fully engraved signs in the market, and that's great. It's fantastic. It says what are they? They're pet tags, they're fully engraved, and the service is offered. But when there's 7 or 8, that means you're reducing the competition to price, right? But why would I may as well they're just a pet tag, there's 8 of them, may as well go to the cheapest, right? The opportunity is being lost here to stand out. The opportunity is being lost to say that it's customized. The opportunity is being lost to show the brand name or how long you've been in the market. You know, any of those other opportunities are lost. So the group of people doing this have reduced the competition there just down to price because it's a fully engraved pet tag service. And there's no need to do that. Try and be different. If you do that, add some value to your sign about why your company or your pet tag is better. If it says fully engraved pet tags in the Queen Vic market since 1954, right, which is one of the players I know has been here since the 50s, or the first fully engraved pet tag company in the Vic market, there's plenty of things that you can say there to make that a better proposition. But it is good, but it doesn't say anything about your store and everyone else has done it. So it comes down to price, and we don't want to trade on price wherever possible. Okay, again, I think some people under difficult circumstances are getting it right. And here we've got a jewelry store, and I think she does an absolutely fantastic job, given the fact that she's had to create a stand and a brand which is in 3 different locations. And she can't currently use her signage on some of the locations because of what's behind her. So she designed her signage for one particular kind of store, and her location on some of the days during all the moves means that signage doesn't particularly work. But here, it's really clear. The visual merchandising is excellent. It's totally on brand. Her customers love it, and she's absolutely thriving at the night market. And it's not an expensive outlook, and it's not an expensive stand. It's just well thought out and well articulated. So a lot can be done with a little, and I think this is a great example. So the tricky part of visual merchandising is that it means you and your staff. And when you work in the market, it's wet, it's windy, you've got to pack up, you've got to pack down, you've got to present, you've got to stand around in the cold. But it is really worth giving it 10 seconds thought, right? Because just think about it from your customer point of view and do your best. That's all we're really kind of asking. So, sorry, I've just skipped ahead. How you look is a trust and confidence factor. And I've said before, would you buy an outdoor holiday or a hiking holiday in Europe from someone with a load of chips on their desk who looked really, really unhealthy? Right, you probably wouldn't. So if you're selling shoes, have good pairs on, right? If you're selling clothes, at least make sure that you absolutely look your best. And that goes down to food, and it goes down to every kind of service, right? We're not asking everyone to look like a supermodel, but what we're asking people to do is to look their best despite the conditions, right? And or knowing that the fact that if you're standing up all day, you've got to have good shoes on, and you've got to be warm, especially at this time of year. But it is an important thing to consider from the customer's point of view, especially based on whatever product you're selling. So if it's not you, you may as well raise it with your staff. What you're trying to do is you're trying to look better or look authentic or look like your customer. Those are the three kind of basic goals. Look better, look authentic, or look like your customer, or all three of them. Yep. So just asking you to set the standard, because you are part of the visual merchandising of your store. How does the proprietor look and come across? So if you do signage and you do brand and you do product and internal signage, you do visual merchandising, you're building a contact base, that basically brings us to what else can you do? And the last one that you can really do if you don't want to do digital is think about closing the sale, right? It's been a really difficult few years, and people are a little bit jaded and tired, and we acknowledge that. Some people are a bit burnt out, and we're dealing with the hassles of trying to trade in a long winter during a renovation, right? So that can creep into us, into us a little bit, and it can creep into our attitude. So I would just say, when was the last time you thought about it or did any training with your staff about overcoming the usual gripes and getting a commitment? Okay, just sit down for 10 seconds and think about that, and about when you last trained your staff, when you thought about the last set of challenges or commitments to getting a sale, right? And think about what you might do about that. The other thing is, have you got all the payment systems working? Have you got them all covered? Is it easy for you to close the deal? Is there an excuse the customer can make that they need to get money, or you don't take China Union Pay, or you can't pay on PayPal, or whatever? Make sure there's no excuses there, right? For you not to be able to close the deal. And if you can't close the deal, can you say, well, go online and buy it later? Here's my card, right? Or scan my QR sign, and that will open the website, and you can buy this at home and we'll get it delivered. Yep. Just take a photograph of my sign, because that's got my website on it. It's got my Facebook link on it. It's got my Instagram link on it. It's got my phone number on it, or it's got our email on it, and you can just buy it there, right? So there are lots of things that you can do to close the sale later, and there are lots of things you can do to close the sale now, right? The other thing that's worth thinking about is collecting a bit of customer feedback, right, about your products and services. What the research shows is a tiny little bit of qualitative data written down and then balanced against how you feel, what your knowledge is, and what your intuition is, can really change the way that you think. So what you think about your current products, services, and the market is feelings, right? And you can bench that if you think about collecting a series of questions from your clients and keeping notes on that, about what they think about the products and services. And it can help you refresh your business. It can help you choose your products for next year. It can help you change your product mix, and also might help you change your price or position a little bit, right? So what I guess I'm asking you is to do something different. and to think a little bit differently about your business, have a bit of a fresh look at it if you don't want to do digital. And then also finally to consider your offer, right? What is your offer? Is it price driven? Is it value for money? Is it scarcity? Is it authenticity? Is it range? What is it about what about what you're doing and what offers you're making out there? Are they value adds? How have you structured it? Because there has to be a reason for the customer or a motivation for the customer. Sure, it can be a great price. Unless your product's unique in the market, you need to have more than just a product to trade off, and that can be you, your reputation, your online assets, your customer service, your presentation, the fact you've added a value add, the fact that yours is newer or it's authentic or whatever. So if you don't necessarily want to do digital, there's plenty of other things that you can do in marketing while you think about what you want to do next for digital, or while you do a bit of preparation for Christmas. So that's really it from me. On this particular thing, I'll just go over the last bit again, which is about brand signage, right? What you're aiming to do is answer the questions, where are you and how do I find you, right? And the way you measure that is, can I refer a customer or a friend or colleague or a tourist to the site, and can I get found, right? The consequence of not doing this is you don't get the money, right? Someone else gets the money, right? So when the customer gets there, is the store clearly laid out, right? And does it cater for people who might not want to engage with the owner or might not speak great English? Is it self-explanatory? So, and lastly, of course, is, are you asking for the sale and collecting data? So really those were the sort of key points of today. But the main one was, can you get found in the market, right? And if you can't get found and it's not clear, you will be losing the money to someone else, because there's plenty of great traders in the market. All right, so I might turn it over to Madalen in case we want to do any questions.
Thanks, Peter. Thanks again. Another great session for us. I'll just stop the share. That's fantastic. Just a couple of points as well. If you're going to say that you've got Australian-made products, make sure they are Australian-made products. There's heavy fines for false advertising, so we really want to make sure that the products are authentic, that they are Australian-made. And, if your products are Australian-made, consider getting on the Australian-made campaign. It helps with that signage as well. With the signage, don't forget that, we do have students available from time to time. They're not always available, but you just check with our mentor on duty, let them know that you'd like some help. They'll get back to me at the end of the day, and I'll see what I've got available and definitely follow up with you and keep you on our list of businesses to assist when we do have an intern available. Selling skills and customer service skills are really important, not only at the market but for any retail business. Those are two topics that we'll definitely be introducing into training, so that QVM traders will be able to participate on that in that training. And we're also looking at different ways that we can help with visual merchandising as well, in providing some form of assistance. Just to let you know, once again, this session has been recorded, and the link will be made available to the QVM traders. And look, we do thank you for taking the time to watch and listen to Peter and I. And we're in October, we won't be having a session. We will be having a session in November, and then we'll have an additional session in December as a wrap-up for the year. So Peter, once again, thank you very much for your time, for your expertise. for your assistance to the QVM traders. It's very valuable to SBMS and the traders as well. So once again, thank you.
My pleasure.
And look forward to seeing you next time.
My pleasure. Thank you very much, Madalen.